Hello, and we are live. Hi, everyone. Good evening, and thanks for joining our event this evening. I'm very happy to have you. Hope you are already in a weekend mood, because it's important to have a good mood now. And I want to give you a chance to ponder about important topics before going into the weekend start. Before doing that, I wanted to quickly introduce who we are, Factory Berlin, and then we'll have a chance to listen to our guests today, to our hosts, which is the HAHN Group. So Factory Berlin is an ecosystem of over 3,000 members from more than 70 nations located on 2 campuses here in Berlin. We started reimagining collaboration by connecting people, ideas, and resources in early 2014. Gathering the most ambition creators from the tech, creative, and corporate industries, we curate our diverse community, connect, collaborate, and thrive together. As a platform for active networking, our digital products, spaces, startup labs, events, and programs encourage new connections to impact our surroundings and the world. And after that introduction, I think we're ready to kick off into our upcoming event. And shortly about it, you might already know that more and more companies are now turning to robotic process automation, eliminating tedious tasks, allowing employees to focus on a higher value of work. And this trend is only going to get faster and faster by the passing of the time. Today, we want to look into more details about the robotics and automation, and for that, we have very interesting guests joining, the hosts from the HAHN Group. It's my pleasure to introduce the expert in this field. So please welcome Dr. Martin Bleider, the Head of Consulting Services at HAHN Digital, and Fritz Pestler, Head of Operation at HAHN Digital. Without further ado, I'd like to kick off the event. So hi, gentlemen. Good evening. How are you doing?
Hi, and hi everybody who is watching us from home or from wherever you are. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you to Factory Berlin for having us and for giving us the stage to talk a little bit about industrial robotics, automation, and especially our view on the future of manufacturing. Before we start, just a quick introduction from my side. I'm Martin. I've been coping with digital transformation topics for many years now from different perspectives, so from academia, from consulting, and now as part of the HAHN Group from the view of a machine building company. And yeah, that shall be it. And I guess, Fritz, you will introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. Hi. So nice to meet you guys. Glad to virtually at least. So in these strange times of Corona. So thanks for joining. And Nika, thanks for the nice introduction. And Factory, of course, thanks for the stage today that we can present. So a few words what I'm doing. I'm with HAHN Group for almost 2 years now and heading our operations at HAHN Digital, which is the digital ecosystem hub that we created almost 1.5 years ago. And yeah, working together with Martin since the beginning for it and shaping the digital innovation in HAHN Group together.
All right, today we want to talk about the future of robotics and automation. And to give you some basics of why do we think we are a good host to talk about it, let me introduce you HAHN Group, but be sure it will be a very quick introduction. So first of all, HAHN is part of RSBG, and RSBG is the industrial investment arm of the RAG Foundation, which is the biggest industry fund in Germany. So it's not only us, but it's actually a group of different industry that RSBG has invested in. And this diverse portfolio has already proven itself successful because within the last couple of months, it showed that diversification of risk and diversification of industry was good for us and for our sister companies and for this whole portfolio. The HAHN Group is basically the automation and robotics part of RSBG. And Fritz will tell you a little bit about what HAHN Group is actually doing, what we are offering, and why do we have such insights in the manufacturing industry.
Yeah, thanks for the intro, Martin. So let's start with a picture here. So basically, what is HAHN Group doing? So in a nutshell, we are a manufacturer for highly automated production lines and robotic solutions. And what you can see here on the picture is one of our production facilities where we commission lines before we ship them to the customer. And HAHN Group is active worldwide. And since the first company was founded in the early 90s, we grew to a global footprint and enlarging the group and the company step by step. And currently, today we have production locations in over 13 countries in all of the major manufacturing hubs around the world, which ensures to be very close to our customers. And in HAHN Group, there are a total of 1,500 employees, which is quite a high number for a machine building company like we are. Speaking about our customers, basically we are aiming for different industries that we are serving. And in general, HAHN Group is focusing on discrete manufacturing. So basically meaning producing pieces of a part. And the individual companies are focused on different industries, also for diversification reasons, which is working quite well, to be honest. Currently in the times of Corona, we are quite happy that automotive only takes up about 50% of our business and not 90% or 99%. So we have some, I would say, stable income from the other industries, which makes it quite nice in this area currently. As a special machine builder, we are aiming to provide full service to our customers. And so basically this full service starts from the beginning with the project development, or basically the development of the production process of a part. So basically customer can come with a piece or a part that he wants to produce and tell us, okay, I don't have any idea how to do it. Please build me a line for that. And then we do the manufacturing, for example, on our own, the software, the controls, and also the commissioning, and later on the after sales services. And this close connection that we're giving, or this full service that we're giving, is enabling us to have a close connection to our customers, which is very good and very beneficial to see and understand their requirements and their needs over the time. And this is why we are very keen to apply, of course, innovation, because we know what our customers want, we know what they're looking for, and this is also applies to the digital innovation. So next, we would like to explain you a little bit our approach in the digital transformation as a machine builder, what we at HAHN Group took.
The very close link that we have to our customers actually enabled us to get some insights of what do they need, what do they think about, what are their targets in terms or in regards to digital transformation. So it was a mix of us having a look at technology and possibilities, and also working together with suppliers, and our customer insights and discussions of what are they ready for and what are they thinking about. And that led us to our development of a portfolio of 4 main topics when we talk about digital transformation. And our target here is always to develop digital solutions, and I'll tell you in a bit how we're going to do it, or how we are doing it, with our customer in mind, and actually adding more value, additional value to our individual machines and our robotics that the customer can use. The 4 technology topics, also each connected to specific use cases that we are focusing on now, are machine vision, big data, augmented reality, and cybersecurity. So why, you might ask? First of all, machine vision for us is a key technology in regards to analyzing images, analyzing pictures for quality inspection. And this is also one use case that we will show you a little bit later. What's behind that? Why is it so important for manufacturing companies? What are manufacturing companies currently doing? And what are the additional benefits in terms of Corona times, or also post-Corona times? The second one, big data. What we are focusing on here together with our customers is mainly on process optimization based on big data, based on data analysis. Augmented reality is the technology we are using to improve remote services and remote support for the manufacturing companies, and also enable the manufacturing companies to do that internally. And all of that requires some increased level of connectivity. And we strongly believe that this increased level of connectivity needs to be secured. So we are also talking about cybersecurity here, especially regarding the machines on the shop floor, regarding the lines, and regarding the data extraction. Also, that led to a couple of things that we are not focusing on. So if we thought about it a lot, what we need to do, but also where to draw the line. And just to give you one example that many others are focusing on, for example, is predictive maintenance. We have it on our radar, but we are not focusing on it currently because as a special machine builder, each machine we build for the customer is highly individualized, and therefore it's kind of hard to use data analytics for maintenance cases because we only, from each machine, we have exactly one to learn the specific data sets. So that being the technologies and the use cases we are focusing on, then the second big thing we thought about is how to approach digital transformation, is how to do it from a business perspective. And since we are very close to the customer, and we are developing those use cases together with the customer, we decided, took a bold step here, and we decided to actually create a dedicated business unit with own P&L responsibility, with a target to offer a portfolio of solutions quickly that are market ready, that the customers can use. The only way to do that, or the only way that we saw in doing that, is leveraging our own internal assets together with a lot of strategic partnerships. Because the technology that you see above, the different use cases, each and every one of them require highly specific knowledge, highly specific expertise that we did not want to build from scratch, but we wanted to build up, and we did build up an ecosystem of strategic partners that we are working closely together with. We are developing solutions together, and we are jointly approaching customers to improve that and to implement that. And this is also why we gather a lot of insights. We gathered a lot of insights that we summarized here for you today to give you the core of it. And this is also one of the parts where we hope to engage with you in many follow-up discussions after today, hear about your ideas, and hear also about your current challenges. So what we are trying to do today is not only give you some technological use cases, but also talk a little bit about how things will change in the future, especially with the challenges that have been introduced by COVID-19. And of course, all of you heard so many about it. We don't want to summarize the whole story here and what we think might change globally, but we want to share a little bit about our insights and what that means for us as a machine building company. So of course, we're talking, or what we're seeing currently are the very high dependencies on global supply chains, and also the instability that is introduced by COVID-19 on some of those supply chains. And we also believe, and we are not the only one who believe that will lead to a trend of having more local supply chains in the future. And that means more manufacturing and more production also in Central Europe. What we believe is that a lot of companies will adjust their risk management process a little bit, risk management approach, and not only having a look at, or not only trying to develop 2 to 3 strategic suppliers for each critical part, but also having those suppliers in different regions so that the risk is diversified even more. And again, that will lead to, in our opinion, that will also lead to an increase in manufacturing and production within Central European countries that all of you know are very high wage countries. So this is quite a challenge for the manufacturing companies. And that leads actually to a big potential for us for machine building companies in general, for providers of automation solutions, of robotics, because with our technology, we can enable manufacturing companies to do that in an economical way, to set up and enhance factories, to set up and enhance manufacturing facilities, even here in Central Europe, in Germany, in neighboring countries. And this is what we want to focus on today. So it's not only about the technology, but it's about showing you some examples how we are working on enabling exactly that.
All right, then let me start with the first use case I would suggest. So the first use case that we brought is basically titled flexible automation. Flexible automation with a collaborative robot, which goes by the name Sawyer in this case from our production. But in general, you call these collaborative robots also cobots. And cobots are a very cool way to automate your existing production, even if it's not automated or only partly automated, because cobots have the clear advantage that are very easy to train and very easy to program. And also they have a reduced effort for safety reasons. So they might originate from industry robots. So, you know, the big orange ones from KUKA, for example, or Yaskawa, so different suppliers for that. But all of these robots have one thing in common: they need a safety fence around them. So something that shields them from working with the humans, or with shields them from the humans, to protect the humans from the robot. And the cobot goes with a completely new approach, basically really collaborate with it and working closely together. And cobots can be very fastly set up, and especially in this case with Sawyer. Sawyer comes with a no-code approach. So you don't need to be a robot expert. You don't need to have any understanding of a programming language, but just how this lady just shows in the slide here, is basically just grip the robot on its and cuffing in the front of its arm and move it to the direction you want. Press a button, then you selected a waypoint, and you can tell him what to do afterwards in the code in a very easy tree structure. So it's really just more choosing than coding in this case. And it comes with a lot of flexibility, of course. Just think about adding a cobot to a workplace where normally a human is working. So for whatever reason, for example, COVID reason, that you don't have workers around in your facility now, or that you need some additional hand at some point. So a cobot can be introduced very fast and very easy. And Sawyer, for example, comes with a camera in its arm, and with this camera, it can scan QR codes and always knows again where he is. So basically, you just teach it once, and then you can just move it around to another location where you need it, and then bring it back to the original workplace. He will scan his surroundings and immediately knows what to do.
But even though there's a lot of flexibility in that technology, and especially medium automated companies are using that. Let's not stop here, but also let's talk a little bit about the challenges. What I know is, especially in the German market, where we have a lot of automotive industry, we have a lot of highly automated industry, we're actually facing a high level of requirement regarding accuracy of the movement of the robot. And Fritz, maybe can you tell us some more details about that? I know an industry robot can be a little bit more precise than a cobot in general. That's just a technology reason. But what are we doing here? So how do we cope with that high requirement for accuracy?
Yeah, so you're right. Yeah? That's compared to an industry robot that is it's normally faster and has more payload and is normally more precise and more accurate in it. But I would say it's ranging from a different for different applications, of course. So what are we doing at HAHN Group? So of course we have a team that's working strongly on the hardware and on the software side. So we're developing the hardware ongoingly, as well as the software, make the software easier to program and make the hardware more accurate in this sense. So the next versions that will be on the market will have a significantly increased accuracy, for example, already. But I think one of the challenges you just mentioned, because you compared it to an industry robot, is basically finding the right application and the right industry where you use it. So it doesn't make sense to use a cobot in a highly automated production environment where you already have a lot of robots, where you basically have little to no manual interaction and work done by any workers. But it makes sense if you, for example, use it for smaller workshops, or if you're aiming for completely different industries, like, for example, catering or events even. So we have one cobot cafe. So basically, Sawyer can make you a coffee or one of the coffee specialties that you want, and you can rent this thing and place it on your event, or you put it in your lobby. So it's basically, I would say, aiming and looking at the right industry where you can use them, and then it has huge benefits.
What we also, in terms of benefits, want to show you is to summarize what this technology actually enables in terms of benefits for companies in general, but also in terms of now and maybe the future, where we are a little bit more sensitive about pandemics and working closely together. So manufacturing companies are using cobots to build the human cobot teams, and that's not a new thing that has been going on before, because that way you get quite flexible teams, because the very let's say easy repetitive tasks you can hand them over to the cobot and leave the more specialized work to the worker. But that also actually enables, nowadays that we think about it, actually enables humans working with cobots in such mixed teams, not enables, but actually decreasing the risk of actually transferring any kind of disease. Also in general, of course, further automation, like we introduced in the beginning, automation is the technology enabler for bringing back or enhancing manufacturing in high-wage countries. And the third aspect is actually what we call productive distancing in regards to social distancing. What you see in a couple of industries is that some of the working stations are very close together, not only from the media during the last couple of days, but also in some other industries. And if you actually use cobots who are able to take over workstations that are designed for humans, you can increase this distance. And this nowadays, I think, is an additional benefit that manufacturing companies need to think about, how to set up their shop floor and how to increase the safety of their workers that way.
Definitely, it's a very, very important point. And you just mentioned one important item I think I forgot, is really that cobots are normally quite easy to train them, so they can take over really manual work. So they can push buttons, they can open and close doors or something like that. So it's really like a third hand for the worker that's working around it. Okay, let me show you the next use case that we brought, which is basically image processing. And image processing currently is a very high demanded task in machine building. So we see a huge demand in the last years from customers and clients that they ask for more and more cameras and the visual inspections in their production lines. So, and this can, of course, vary from just one camera taking one picture to ensure that there's something on the table or not, but also coming to very complex quality inspections, mainly end of the line when you have a finished product. And there's a lot of challenges in it. So, for example, you need to first of all take an image, which is a challenge in itself. So just ask an expert how easy it is to take always the same quality of a picture for a part. So this requires a lot of expertise to set it up, and also the training of the software later on to analyze the picture is also, you need a lot of know-how, a lot of expertise, and experts that can program really algorithms, for example, to detect errors and mistakes on a piece, on a work piece that you have. And in our situation, we identified that this is becoming a bottleneck. So currently we have, for example, one company where we have 20 people only focusing about the vision systems that we have. And these 20 people are always fully booked. I think they are not allowed to go on vacation anymore because they are really in high demand. So we were looking for a solution to make this process of quality inspection easier. And what you see in the slide here in the background is basically one of the solutions that we found. It's coming from an Israeli startup called Kitov. which HAHN Group is invested in since already 2 years now. And Kitov made a huge leap when it comes to the automation of a quality inspection. Basically, everything that you see on the picture on the right here on the system is standard hardware, but the software behind it is really powerful to detect and inspect nearly any product. So we don't need to create, we don't need 3 experts, one for a robot, one for a camera, another one for the controls, to set up a specialized solution to identify predefined errors or something, but we have a unique solution, but it's very versatile for a lot of different products that you want to scan with it. And the software is taking over I would say, the tedious tasks of programming the robot and getting the picture, and then later on, of course, also analyzing the picture. So it makes it very easy for non-experts to set up such kind of process, which saves a lot of time, a lot of money in the end, of course, and makes it again flexible and more sustainable, because you can use the system today for one product and tomorrow for another one, and so on. You can always switch it and make it a very easy and fast transition from one product to another.
But again, also here, talking a lot about benefits, there are always challenges involved as well. And one challenge in particular that I know, if we look at this technology, is finding the right product fit. But because what you see here in the video, this product has a certain level of complexity and a certain amount of inspection points. And this is really important to keep in mind when you are thinking about this technology. It's for more complex products. There are some limits regarding the cycle time and the size of the product. So that having being one challenge, Fritz, what else do we know? What are other challenges we have here?
Yeah, so really challenges from a daily business is, of course, I would say, starting with the automation of our clients or the customers that want to use something like that, or people that are interested in. So what you see here is, of course, it's a standalone version. So you place a part on it, you kind of have a remote PC, just click on a button and it starts doing the inspection. This can be very beneficial for some of the customers, but not for everyone, of course. So the level of the automation around is always another challenge. So some production lines that we are producing in HAHN Group have cycle times about 3 to 4 seconds. So really think about this. Always, all 4 seconds a part is dropping out of the line, and then it's of course challenging to have a 100% visual inspection. So you need to not only get the product fit, you only need to get the, I would say, manufacturing fit, that it fits to the process that it's in place. And the system is working, by the way, with deep learning AI algorithms in the background. So basically what we did here, and what you can see here, for example, in the video, is we trained algorithms to find certain errors. And we pre-trained it with 10,000s of pictures and 10,000s of data sets to train it to a very specific task, and have a lot of these different algorithms. But sometimes AI is a little bit, I would say, overestimated. So we shouldn't overestimate AI and just think, okay, it has AI in it, so it's magic and everything is working. Of course, we have the same physical limits than any other camera, but we are making it easier and faster. So it's really, I would say, paying on the account of high wages again, because we don't need the experts that are necessary to create classical machine vision tasks for a lot of hours or a lot of weeks to create the same task. All right. And what we're coming up to, of course, here is also what you can use it now, and how we can use this use case in daily life, basically. Of course, the same rules or the same benefits like the general automation apply here as well. So we have less human interaction when it now comes to COVID again. So we don't need to go to the shop floor. We don't need to stand next to the line and do a quality check, because it's done automatically. So we can work at home and remotely. So like you see here in this nice home office, and which is another benefit. Sorry. which is another benefit is, of course, that we can, like I just said, we can leverage our experts much better, but not only when it comes to commissioning by the machine builder building this line, but also by a client who's using this technology, because you have specially trained people who are looking at these lines and having the quality inspection done. And think about, you have now one quality inspection engineer that can overlook several lines or several machines, and that does not even be in the same location or in the same plant, because you can get all this information to his remote work desk, and can analyze the data here, even train the algorithms to a higher extent, but can do it in a more efficient way than before, when you just stand next to the line, take every piece in your hand and flip it around and do a visual inspection with your eyes. All right.
The third use case that we want to show you, I mean, after flexible automation and image processing for quality inspection, is using data analytics for performance improvement. This is what many manufacturing companies are doing a lot, and it's also not new. It has been around for quite a while in different, let's say, on different levels. So for a couple of industries, having dashboards and visualizing KPIs is really something they have been doing for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, maybe not digital all the way, but always kind of based on data acquisition and some kind of data analytics, maybe descriptive analytics. But now, with a lot more processing power coming up, a lot more technology coming up, many companies really engage into going to diagnostic analytics and trying to improve their KPIs. So basically trying to improve their output, the output of the line, trying to improve the quality, the product quality of the line, and also improve the maintenance or decrease the maintenance effort of the line. This is the target that companies are following, and what you see here is just a rough overview of the setups, but we will also show you, or we also want to talk about some technical challenges here. What you basically see is, okay, the data needs to be acquired from certain components of the line, then it needs to be gathered, it needs to be analyzed, and then we need to visualize it and derive some action from it. Fritz, maybe it would be good if you sum up the two main technical challenges that not only we are facing in different projects, but also we know that many manufacturing companies are facing.
Yeah, sure. So I would say the first challenge is a quite, I would say, trivial one, and then quite easy to solve one also. If you don't gather the data, you cannot analyze it. It's really as simple as that. But we are encountering that facing that with a lot of brownfield machines, of course, because some years ago when these lines were built, of course, the idea of data analytics and big data was already around, but not that mature than it is now. So it's sometimes there is no data acquisition at all, or sometimes we see it at some of our pilots and on some of our installations. We saw that not all the relevant data was gathered. So there were some data points that were nicely stored for years and years, but some of the most relevant weren't stored. But of course, it was hard to say some years ago what could be relevant. So long story short, basically, we need to make sure, first of all, that we have all the data that we need for the analytics part, and to make an automated algorithm that can run over it and find the correlations that we are interested in, always aiming to increase our efficiency. So we can solve it quite simple today, because as Martin, you just said, the connectivity is increasing, and meaning that the sensors are getting cheaper and cheaper, and also the connectivity of these sensors is quite enhanced and quite better than some years ago. So just throwing in the word of 5G, this can be the next big thing when it comes to connectivity in also a shop floor environment. Just think about adding another sensor to a, I would say, very remote place in your machine without the need to cable everything or to connect it again to your PLC machine where you don't know what happens if you connect another data point. So this can be, I would say, solved quite easily. And another challenge that is very manufacturing specific or industry specific here, at least from our perspective as a special machine builder, is that we don't have big data. So we have some kind of mediocre, medium-sized data or small data even. So the classical approaches of machine learning by just dropping loads and loads of information and data to an algorithm and kind of let it calculate itself what could be a nice insight. So the unsupervised learning stuff and approach is not that beneficial in manufacturing. So we need to kind of make put a little bit more effort in. So what we are doing, this is our approach in HAHN Group. We are kind of modeling the physical process into a data process and put in all the information that we have from the process with our domain expertise, from our engineers and also from customers, of course, put that together and have a very sophisticated model in place before we even go to the line with it and start with it. And in this case, we can decrease the time that's necessary to implement such models and such algorithms. So of course, it would be nice if we just have millions of pictures around, like, I don't know, cat pictures from the internet and just drop them on a line. But it's a little bit more specific. So we need to focus more on what's necessary and what could be beneficial for the customer afterwards. So there's a little bit more effort, unfortunately.
But what you just said, Fritz, I think that directly brings us to the business challenge that is highly connected to this data analytics topic. So what we see currently are a lot of manufacturing companies trying that, conducting pilots, or also implementing some large-scale solutions here. But specifically, the topic of building individual data analytics models for a line, for a machine, for a specific shop floor, that of course leads to effort. And effort always leads to a lot of costs. And now we as HAHN, who are also looking at the other side of data analytics, of how to offer data analytics, are quite challenged by how do we actually sell that? How do we price it? And I think this is a challenge a lot of other companies and startups engaging in this topic are coping with, because there's no real common knowledge or no gut feeling and understanding of what is the value data analytics can bring, and therefore what is a good price to pay for it. And also on the effort side, there's in many cases there's not a clear understanding of what does it mean to build up a data analytics model. What does it mean to implement a solution? What's the man hours, the person days behind that until such a project is actually successful? So the pricing issue here of finding a way, bringing the value and the right pricing model together. And I'm not even starting to talk about one-time pricing or some kind of subscription models. This is also a huge topic that needs to be tackled, but the general understanding of effort versus value. But I think this is like in many cases an evolution, and we will see more and more understanding growing in the next couple of years. The more companies have actually engaged and the more results we have seen of what data analytics is capable for in manufacturing processes.
Definitely. And so you just mentioned it's still a little bit hard to, I don't know, make a price tag on it or a value tag on it, I would say. But the interesting part for manufacturing is, of course, if I just said some minutes ago, we're producing lines that are producing parts in every other second. So there's a huge economy of scale in it. So if we don't need to aim for the 20% improvement of a line. We don't need to get a I don't know, a 30% uptime, more uptime or something like that. In manufacturing, and especially in the automated industry, like HAHN Group is at home, it really makes sense if we already start looking at 1 or 2% of increase. And again, what can we use it for? How can it be used again in the client's side or in the daily business again? So of course, again, same benefits apply, and then for the other automation stuff, so we can work remotely again. So yeah, we can monitor our processes like from at home or whatever. And of course, this process optimization enables companies to bring back production from I don't know, Asia or something to Europe or to high wage countries, because with these very small changes that we need to do, and these small I would really say minor improvements that are already enough and sufficient to drop the production costs significantly. So this is really a beauty of data analytics, and I think there's a lot of value and a lot of benefit in it. Also coming, of course, if we're looking in the near future, I think this will get better and better, and will definitely help us get the production to more high-wage countries back again.
Yeah, what you just mentioned, let's go back here to our first vision, or what we think the main challenge of bringing back or enhancing more local supply chains, so setting up more manufacturing in high-wage countries, are the high wages that with the 3 examples, and you can imagine many, many more, we are trying to tackle with the right application and implementation of technology. But that's not the only challenge we are seeing, and of course also manufacturing companies are pretty much facing. And the one thing is tackling the high wages and using technology, but the other thing is that all the technology require quite a high investment, and this is not talking about the operational cost, but the one-time cost at the beginning. And this is something in our mind we cannot solve with even more technology or further developed technology. Of course, there's a little bit of economy of scale, and technology will decrease in pricing. But in the end, the major challenge we see here is due to a diverging target system between machine builder and manufacturer. And the main reason is that the machine builder, basically in the current business model of focusing on the asset transfer, he wants to sell as expensive and as many machines as possible to the manufacturer, and do some service business on top of that. So basically get a high investment for the machine, sell some additional services, and sell a new machine. And the manufacturer, on the other hand, he wants to have a low investment, very low operational costs, so pretty much in best case pay nothing for any services, and optimize the lifetime of the machine to use it a lot longer than originally intended. So what we have here, the maximum profit of the machine builder and the maximum profit of the the maximum profit of the machine builder and the maximum profit of the manufacturer, they are quite far away from each other in terms of how to reach it. And again, this will, in our way of thinking, will not be solved by technology, but actually in a change of thinking of how to make business. And we think even for manufacturing industries and collaborating with machine builders, the subscription business model will be the one solving this issue of high investments necessary for manufacturing sites. Because if we look at a subscription model, it's basically a manufacturer paying a fee for the usage or for a certain kind of production performance. And in that model, the machine builder has a high motivation of actually creating a low investment, because the machine itself stays the property of the machine building company and stays in the balance sheets and books of the machine building company. He has the motivation of minimizing the operational cost, because it's part of the of the fee, or it will actually eat up the margin of the fee. And the machine builder is also motivated to optimize the lifetime of the machine itself. And the manufacturer is pretty much motivated to increase as much output and maybe minimize the subscription fee itself. And in that model, the overall targets of machine builder and manufacturer are quite more aligned. And this is in our vision what we, and not only HAHN, but what many companies are calling manufacturing as a service model. This is something, let's say, from our perspective, that is a vision. This is not something we are doing today. This is not something that we will do tomorrow, because changing from the one business model to the other business model requires a lot of transformation. It requires all the technology we talked about being implemented, because it requires database transparency and database possibilities to optimize. And it requires a lot of financial and organizational transformation. Just think about having all the machines in our books as HAHN means if we do the switch for the next couple of months or years, for the next couple of years, we will pretty much not make any profit, at least on the balance sheet. So there's a lot of adjustments that needs to be done with the investor, with probably some other financial institutions to diverse the risk in that business model. But we wanted to show you that because this is part of the answer. If we look at a longer time frame, it's technology to tackle the high wages, and it will be the business model to tackle the high investment. And both is necessary to enable an increased and enhanced manufacturing in high wage countries such as Germany and other Central European countries.
Correct. Yeah, it's an evolution. Let's see how long it takes, how long it takes us to get there. All right, then let's sum it up here. So basically, what you can take away from today. We as HAHN Group, or we hope what you can take away from today, is that you learned that HAHN Group is very keen about new technologies, and we are always keen to experiment with it, to implement these innovations into our daily business and also into our products. And we are open for new business models and ready to use these new business models if we find a good solution how to bring our business in general forward with it. And like to bring it back to the beginning where we talked about the digital transformation approach that we're taking. We're always looking, and now we targeted to Factory Berlin. Of course, we're looking for strategic partnerships, for interesting companies, for people who have ideas that want to jump together with us into hopefully a physical meeting room soon and discuss about collaboration and cooperation. So we are happy if you get in touch with us later, and now we're happy for your questions if they're and want to answer them, of course.
Perfect. Thank you very much for this interesting, engaging, and concise presentation. I think we had a lot of takeaways. I was marking some questions along the way, but I don't want to take too much time off the air. First of all, I want to say that if anyone's interested in connecting with the HAHN Group or the gentleman present here, you can use the information from the screen or just email info@hahn.digital. Martin Fritz, when you were going through this deck, I was kind of thinking about my childhood when everyone was thinking then in 2010 or 2012 we're going to be seeing robots and flying cars everywhere, and this time somehow never came, but I think Corona basically is bringing innovation to many fields of our lives, and I think this wonderful technology that you showed, especially the Sawyer, the robot, might be used widely in the society. Jokes aside, I can see a huge potential of the cobot being used in many fields. I'm not only talking about the private sector, small businesses. I mean, people can imagine the cobot used in, let's say, cafeterias, as you mentioned, in the restaurants and so on and so forth. But I think another step would be these cobots being used in government, in let's say administration and bureaucratical entities. I mean, Ausländerbehörde comes to my mind. Do you think there is a potential for that, and do you think that will be a trend of government states actually taking up on this chance and using this, or maybe even already you've heard about the use case like this? That will be my kind of like high-level question.
What we are seeing, let me start, and then Fritz, you can add some to that, because what we are already seeing is you mentioned government, but also some kind of healthcare institutions like hospitals and so on, using robots to guide any kind of visitors, for example. I mean, if you go to the Ausländerbehörde or to any big government building in Germany, they're huge. You usually go, or in many cases, you go there once every 5 years or 10 years or something like that. So as a customer, and well, maybe the institutions don't see you as a customer, but in the end, as a customer, you're not really familiar with where you need to go. And this is one case where small service cobots can be used to guide you around, to ask where you want to go, and then the cobots will actually bring you there. Same thing in big hospitals. It's not easy to guide around there for visitors, and again, this is also a case where cobots could help.
Mm-hmm. If just one thing to add. So first of all, we have hoverboards, so a little bit of our childhood dreams came true. But you mentioned hospitals, so we can use it for therapy purposes. So for example, think about one specialist is coming, you broke your leg, you need to, I don't know, move it half an hour in a very specific way, and it would be a cool idea, or it is a cool idea, if this expert is just coming to your bed and is kind of teaching the cobot what to do, and then the cobot is doing it half an hour with you, and after half an hour, I don't know, it turns off, something like that. So we can kind of leverage the scarce resources that we have, especially in healthcare. So that could be another option here.
Yeah, I can totally see a collaboration between you as a HAHN Group, and also using your product, and Factory Berlin on the other side. When you go into the community, there is a reception when you have to, these days, you have to kind of register yourself, check in, and I can see using the Sawyer as a kind of a tool to make users kind of use this spray to desensitize your hands. So actually the use cases are really wide and covers many industries. Great. So there are a couple of questions in the chats I want to address. The first one would be, hi everyone, are you also working with 3D quality inspections at HAHN Group?
Well, you want to go first?
Sorry?
So what we are doing is basically taking pictures from different angles and kind of re-engineer some kind of 3D vision. But I think the question probably aims or targets more like a scanning approach. To be honest, personally, we at the HAHN Digital level are not involved in 3D scanning projects currently, but I'm not sure if any other entity or experts are working with that. Fritz, do you know anything?
Yeah, so 3D scanning really, when it comes to, I would say, some more metrology approaches, so really measuring parts, like getting the depth of some, I don't know, stuff, some items, we definitely do that. So we have experts in the group that are focusing on these 3D measurement tools. So, but when it comes back to Kitov, to the system we just shown, we kind of have a 3D look on it, on the product, but it's kind of a mimic of really taking it apart and turning it around and then taking pictures from different steps. So hope that answers the question. So both, yes.
Yeah, I hope that really answers the question. I want to also stress that we still got time. If anyone watching interested in asking a question, you have a chance now. We have one more question coming in, or it's more like a comment. Thank you very much for a great talk. Subscription and mass is an interesting use case. We've done a proof of concept on this topic, and I will get in contact with you to share our experience. So yeah, there are a couple of comments left there, which are basically appreciation of the masterclass today and kind of the wish to connect with you. Everyone is really welcome to reach out to us, or you can also use to reach out to Martin and Fritz on our family Slack. I think I would ask one more question. It's also kind of like a high-level question because me personally, I'm not really fluent in the topic present today, so I'm going to take a step back. How do you work with the AI? Or the question would be more better framed if I asked, do you probably working with a narrow AI as compared to the general AI, right? Which is kind of like still not achieved the very general artificial intelligence. So do you see, since we have this big shift currently into the robotics and industrialization, automation of everything around us, do you see AI kind of advancing in a faster rate compared to the last 10 years? And what kind of insights you can share from your side?
I think, so first of all, yes, we see the application more in a variety of very specific use cases. For example, using it for root cause analysis to improve any kind of process. Using it for the image processing and for the defect detection and the quality inspection, for example. What we do see from a technical perspective is there is an increased development, that for sure, and it helps that so many startup ecosystems are actually focusing on those B2B applications as well. Startups, the ecosystems in Germany, in Israel, but also in the US, who are not only targeting B2C business models anymore with this technology. But where we see one huge challenge is getting familiar with it and actually learning from the manufacturer perspective, learning somehow to trust those recommendations or to actually gather the experience that the recommendations done by any kind of algorithm is actually really helping the process, because there's a cultural change now going from the well-known engineering expert who's improving the process to some kind of software and algorithms who have a lot more data input than the experts used to have, and deriving their actions from this algorithm. So in the end, there's a switch of culture. It will take time to get used to it, but also where we see the most successful pilots as of now is where companies and approaches are trying to combine that. So actually using the expert knowledge from the engineer to already build a data analytics model that takes into account this expert knowledge, and then pretty much filling up the blind spots and the black boxes with more algorithmic approaches. But so that's a little bit my opinion. So Fritz, feel free to say something else.
Just to add one thing, so I think we really see an increase over the last years of companies focusing, especially now on manufacturing as well. So it's appeared on the map in the last year. So lots of companies now looking for manufacturing companies or production in general or manufacturing in general to increase that. And of course, then from these years, I would say, we're covering this topic when I just range back the last 2 years. It was a huge development in the last 2 years. When we started with our initial ideas to some companies, there were only a few. Now there are plenty of companies that are aiming for manufacturing. So from my impression and feeling, I would say, there's much more going on in the last years than the years before. So it's taking speed.
Thank you very much for the extensive answer. We have one more question we can cover. Hello, I would like to discuss further regarding the industrial use in textile industry. How do you manipulate flexible items? I guess this is going to be more like a longer discussion when this person will reach out to you, but if you can maybe give like really basic level understanding to this question.
Yeah. So basically, this is really a quite challenging topic, because even though the textile industry was the first one with the first steps of automation, now it's actually reaching a limit, especially because of the flexible product. And there have been different approaches regarding going from actually freezing the textile to make it a discrete part, to using a vacuum or putting it between different shields. But there are limits as of now, especially as from the economic perspective, to use those technologies. We as HAHN unfortunately have not found the solution yet, because otherwise I think we would be huge in the textile industry. But I'm happy if this textile expert could reach out, and maybe let's exchange a little bit more on the details of this technology or of the challenge, and maybe with our experience from different industries, we might be able to find some new approaches or ideas that are worth exploring together.
Well, yeah, there is definitely a potential for collaboration there. As I mentioned in the beginning of the masterclass, we really strive Factory Berlin as a place where we really want to bring different parties together, different ideas. So this could be one in the works. Yeah, overall, I think we are running out of time. Kind of wanted to set aside a minute or two for the closing remarks. Again, big thank you for this illuminating talk. Me personally, as a person who's not really fluent in these topics, learned quite a lot. Then another comment would be that we in Factory Berlin already have startups and individuals working in this same field. One example would be AI Site, which is a startup who is producing, I think the technical term for that would be a dongle, small equipment, which helps with the plant maintenance, which you mentioned in the beginning of the presentations, and you're currently not focused on that. So maybe that could be one kind of collaboration opportunity there. And lastly, I just want to say that everyone who watched this masterclass or has a questions or wants to get connected with Martin and Fritz are really welcome to reach out to us, to them directly. I'll give you several seconds since we're already over the time for closing remarks. And from my side, thank you very much and wish you all the best.
All right. Thank you, Nika. Thank you, Factory Berlin. Thanks all of our visitors, and yeah, feel free to reach out, use the Factory Berlin Slack, use LinkedIn, use our webpage, and yeah, this was thought for us. This was the idea to start some kind of discussions with you, and hopefully it will catch on.
Yeah, so not much to add from my side. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nika, for the nice hosting, and thanks Factory, of course, for the stage, and the complete team of Factory that supported us in the last weeks in setting this up. And we are looking forward to meet you soon physically in Berlin. So fingers crossed that it will be sooner than later.
Yeah, we have one question remaining, which is basically what is the preferred channel to get in contact. LinkedIn. As I said, any way works. If you want to get connected with Martin and Fritz on LinkedIn, the full name would be Martin Beider and Fritz Pessler.
Correct, or you can reach out to our website, so hahn.digital.
Yes, that also works. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend ahead, everyone. Goodbye.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.